I gotta have you, McGriddle. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. What's going on, everyone? It's Sherwin with another video. So as promised, I wanted to share with you what I've done on this project where I replaced my H80 CPU cooler with the H60 on the 3930K. So today I decided to take a day off. It's Labor Day weekend, so I wanted to extend the 3-day holiday. So I extended it starting with today. Today's Friday. Also, I wanted to have some time to actually work on this CPU cooler replacement. First off, I just want to give a shout out to my good friends Jonas and Thomas. You can find Thomas at ThomasAMI on Instagram. Go give them a shout out, but I just want to give them a shout out because I showed them the previous video that I built or recorded regarding the 3930K project, as well as some updates. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's called the August 2017 update. But I showed it to them because I used to work with them, and they're really good at media production, and I suck at it. So I wanted to give them the opportunity to check it out and give me some feedback and suggestions. And just want to thank them, and I appreciate all the time and that they took to share all these tips and tricks. So I have a lot to work on still, but if you watched the previous video, there were some sound issues, and they guessed right. It was the gain on the microphone of the camera. So I set it to auto. Usually when I see auto, I always go for that setting because it's automatic, but I guess it was too high. So I changed it up a bit, so hopefully this record is going to be better. So shout out to them, thank you, Thomas and Jonas. So yeah, the other thing I gotta work on is lighting. Normally I can only record at night because, you know, 9-to-5 job, right? But today is a little different. I have my son with me, not my son, but the sun. So hopefully natural light will do better. Okay, and then the other thing, shout out to IKEA. I love that place. I was there last night picking up some stuff. So what I picked up this fake plant. I've been noticing people use it on YouTube, so if I'm gonna do videos now on YouTube, I guess that's one of the prerequisites. So I picked up a fake plant. Hopefully I get more thumbs up on the fake plant, guys and gals. Also, I found you ever go to those like Chinese restaurants, and if you're with a big party, they sit you down at this table, and in the middle of the table they have this rotating circle thing where they put all of the food. I don't know what it's called, but pretty much they put all the food there, and if you ever need to reach for food, you spin it around. So I found that also at IKEA and figured, you know what, maybe I can do some B-rolls with that, and so I will be using it more on my videos. So hopefully it works out. I don't know. I'm still new at this thing, even though I've been doing YouTube videos since 2008. I took a short break. Things are a little different now, and hopefully I can produce better content and provide better content. Let's hope. I hope. So anyways, I went ahead and did a little unboxing video coverage, but I'm gonna speed it up. Just because there's probably hundreds of unboxing videos of the H60i, but just recorded it just in case. A couple of tips while I did the installation. Remember to always crisscross when you tighten up screws, and don't tighten it up right away. Just tighten it up enough to where it would stay in place. And you also want to crisscross. It's like changing a tire, you want to crisscross, right? So once everything is settled in, then if you're sure that that's where it's going to be, just then tighten it up, but also crisscross it. What else was there? Also, with these coolers, because they come with different brackets, different screws, you will have leftover parts. So don't worry about leftover parts. Those leftover parts are because it's for a different CPU. Like for instance, this CPU is an Intel LGA 2011 socket. So for the most part, anything Intel uses the same parts. In this CPU cooler in particular, AMD has different brackets, so I did have leftover parts, which is for AMD processors. So if you're gonna do this project, don't worry, you're gonna have leftover parts. So I thought I lost my Noctua fan. When I did the previous video, it was actually an empty box. I did find it, but after I finished installing the cooler, so I decided not to use it for now. I just wanted to see what the results are with the stock Corsair fan, and I also decided not to use the Arctic Silver um, paste. I'm just going to use what came with it just so that I can see what the results are. Um, I know after a year from now, I'll probably clean it up. So when I do my cleaning, I'm just going to switch out the thermal paste and use the Arctic Silver then, and then probably swap out my fan with the Noctua. So, okay, everything went well. I turned on the BIOS and checked. I turned on the computer and went to the BIOS. I also checked out the idle temps. That was one of the first things I did. Now, the idle temperature in the BIOS is 45 degrees Celsius. I ran it for about 5 minutes and then just checked out to see if the temperatures would rise. Now, the original or the initial temperatures were reading about 42 degrees Celsius, and within 5 minutes it climbed up to 45 degrees Celsius. Um, Keep in mind when I was doing this, the side panel of the tower is off. So I wanted to make sure all the fans are spinning, everything was plugged in properly, and that's why I kept it off, just in case I need to turn it back off and check all of the cables and stuff. So with the side panel off, do keep in mind that the airflow is kind of screwed up because everything will be exiting where the side panel should be. So that's the idle temperature in the BIOS, 45 degrees Celsius. So it's a huge improvement because from the broken H80i, it hit probably 90 degrees Celsius and it shut off. So I was pretty happy that it didn't hit 50, and that's on idle in the BIOS with nothing. It's doing nothing. So now I turned the computer off, put the side panel back in, and then plugged everything into the network, put the side panel, like I said. What else? Then I powered it on and booted to the software. Again, I'm using Expinology, and went in and checked the idle temperature, and according to the software, it is registering at 35 degrees Celsius. So from 45 to 35, 10 degrees difference. I believe that has something to do with the side panel being on this time, and the airflow is working appropriately. Although it is registering by the software, I mean, you gotta do plus or minuses on it, but it seems like there's an improvement with the side panel on. Also consider that in the idle temperature within the software, the operating system itself is running. We're not just in the BIOS, so there's stuff running. Now, I did do some backups, and I'm actually still doing backups now. And the temperature during backup is 39 degrees Celsius. It floated around there, but I averaged it to about 39 degrees Celsius. So a huge difference. I believe actually with the H80, last I checked during backups and stuff, it was closer to 50 degrees. So I think it was already failing at that point until it eventually failed altogether. Now I do have a kilowatt, and I measured the watt usage during transfer, and it floated between 180 watts to 200 watts, which is not bad considering it's a hexa-core processor, 6-core processor, 3930K. So that's pretty good. Oh, and also consider that there are 7 hard drives in there, 7 hard drives. Now a couple of other stats I want to share. My source server is the Synology server, and it's running one of those quad-core, really low-powered CPUs. And the CPU usage while I was doing the transfer is 83%. And the RAM, which is at 16 gigabytes, was using 7%. So not too bad. The RAM isn't being used up, although the CPU is. Now, the method of transfer I'm using is rsync, so there are some calculations that it does during the transfer, so I'm pretty sure that's what's happening there. Now, the destination PC, which is the one that I worked on, the 3930K, the CPU usage during transfer is only 8%, and that's pretty obvious. It's a more powerful CPU, has more cores, has more threads, and it is more capable. So, and the RAM at 48 gigabytes is at 1% during transfer. So average transfer speed is about 75 to 80 megabytes per second. Not too bad. I'm actually pretty excited about that. I've done different types of transfers between the Synology and other servers, and it's pretty bad. Like if you use the Synology Hyper Backup, it's very slow, and I believe what's happening is because it has to compress the files before it sends it up. So with rsync, it's just like it's a file-based transfer. It doesn't have to compress everything together and then create a backup file, then send it on over. But yeah, 75 to 80 megabytes per second on average transfer speed through my gigabit network. Now I have to do how many terabytes? I think about 6 terabytes of backups. Once that's complete, it should only back up files that have been changed, so it'll be a lot quicker. And the cool thing about using the Synology product, it actually notifies me via email that the backup is complete, and I could also have it check the integrity of the backup. I could schedule it. But as I mentioned in the previous video, I'm probably only going to be running this server 2-3 times a week and just do a backup. So another reminder again, RAID is not a backup. Okay, RAID is not a backup. It will fail. Like, it's not if it fails, it's when it fails. Like, what do you have in place to address that issue? And what I have in place is another server that is using a RAID, and it serves as a backup. So that's pretty much it in this video. I just wanted to share all that. Hopefully you enjoyed the video episode, and I'm gonna try to do some more, but this Labor Day weekend we're probably gonna hang out somewhere, stay cool, because right now it is hot. It's hot. We're having a heat wave. We expect things to cool off to about 90 degrees, 93 degrees, but today is gonna be about 108 degrees. So if you're in my area, stay cool, everyone. Be safe. And that's pretty much it. Just catch me on social media, W1N78 on Twitter, also on Instagram. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe. I'm gonna be doing more videos, and that's about it. Thank you, everybody.